What's going on, everybody? We got another reaction video.
Have you ever looked at a beautifully designed home and thought, why does this look so good? Obviously, we all have different tastes, but there's plenty of psychology and science behind what makes certain homes feel so good to be in. So,
Bro, I've been in some pretty big houses too. Like I worked at a house already, like doing the floor and stuff like that, bro. I'm telling, it was like a $25 million house, bro. It's crazy. It's crazy how big those houses are. Like, but they got some good taste, the people that be up in them houses and everything, bro. I like the way they taste it.
in this video, I'm going to show you how to harness that psychology to upgrade your own home without renovating or even buying new furniture. So,
I mean, renovating is just getting better taste in the house. You know what I'm talking about? Like better looking thing.
picture this. It's Saturday afternoon and you just spent 2 hours deep cleaning your living room. You vacuumed the rug, you wiped down the coffee table, you fluffed the pillows, and everything's in its place. So you sit down on the sofa to enjoy your hard work, but you can't, because even though the room is spotless, something still feels off. Like there's this low-level hum of restlessness in your body, almost like the space is quietly shouting at you. And that's frustrating because you put in the work and you've got nice things, but the room just refuses to feel like the sanctuary you want it to. Well, here's the
I mean, anybody could organize a room and make a room look better though, like for real. Like you might have a messy room, but that room could look real good if you just clean it up a little bit and make it look nice. You know what I'm talking about?
the thing. The reason it still feels stressful usually isn't due to your paint color or your layout. It's because you've fallen into what I call the visual to-do list trap. And to understand why your clean room is still stressing you out, we have to look at a quirk in human psychology called the Zeigarnik effect. Back in the 1920s, a psychologist named Bluma Zeigarnik was sitting in a busy cafe and noticed something interesting. The waiters could remember complicated orders perfectly without writing anything down. But the second the table paid for that order, their brain basically deleted it. Ask them 5 minutes later what that order was, and they legitimately couldn't tell you. And what she went on to prove through her work as a psychologist is that the
Oh, I could understand what they talking about. So it's like if you work, you know, if you do something like you have to remember something real fast and then you just punch it in and then it's over with, right? Like you just punch in what you had to remember into the computer, you know? Uh and then you move on to your next task, you know? That it becomes a habit to remembering what you have to remember to punch into the computer. You see what I'm saying? Just like a somebody that's doing DoorDash, right? Like think about it like this, like all right, so if somebody says they have a pin for their order, right? All right, you get to the people door with the DoorDash, you give them the DoorDash and you need the pin from them. They tell you the pin and then they close the door. All right, so you got to remember that 4 code pin each time. But now every time that you do something like that, it gets a lot easier. Like you start actually remembering no matter what. Like you don't have to re-ask them no more or nothing. Like you just remember. You know what I'm talking about?
human brain is literally hardwired to remember incomplete tasks way better than completed ones, because when a task is unfinished, your brain keeps it in active memory, which creates this subtle cognitive tension so that you don't forget it. But how does that show up in your living room? Well, your brain doesn't just evaluate your room based on color theory or aesthetics. It also scans for pending actions. So when you sit on the sofa and look toward your TV, you might see that black power cord drooping down. Now, consciously, you know it's just a cord, but subconsciously, your brain sees it like a sign that says, fix me. But this shows up in a lot of areas of our lives. The stack of mail sitting in your entryway isn't just paper, it's a pending action. The cabinet door cracked open because something's blocking it, that's another. And the throw blanket that's half falling out of the basket, that's a third. So each of these tiny things is an open loop, and you can think of it as having 50 tabs open in your browser. You might only be using one of them actively, but the other 49 are still running in the background. And that's what these little visual hiccups do in your home. Your brain is silently tracking unfinished business all day long, which makes it next to impossible to relax.
You see, I think I'm pretty sure I know people that could relax with things all messy in their house, bro. I'm pretty sure most people could relax like that, but yeah, I guess some people can't really relax like that. You know what I'm talking about? Like in other words, like they got some people whenever they get out of bed, right? their covers all messed up, they don't go back and fix their bed that same day, bro. They might fix it like the next day or two, but they ain't gonna fix it right then and there, you know what I'm talking about? But and they okay with that, you know, like so same with me, like I'll get out my bed, bro, and like my blanket is like all over the place, you know what I'm talking about? Like, but and I'll leave it like that, bro, and I don't know. It's like it don't bother me that it's like that.
So the fix usually isn't buying new decor. The fix is what I call closing the loop. And this is very different from cleaning or tidying, because when you close the loop, you aren't looking for dust or reorganizing your bookshelves. No, you're putting on a pair of psychological blinders and walking through your room looking strictly for one thing: unfinished business. And then you finish it. So that might mean taping that drooping power cable to the back of the
See, I don't never look at something and go, oh, that's unfinished business. I might look at that and go, oh, that's a cup on the counter that needs to be put in the washer or the dishwasher. You know, it needs to be put in the dishwasher. But like, I ain't gonna look at the cup and go, oh, that's unfinished business. Nah.
media console so it disappears, putting the mail inside a drawer, or just rearranging what's inside the cabinet so you can finally fully close it. That's it. You're not redecorating, you're just Xing out of those mental tabs and really closing the loop. And the crazy thing is, the before and after might be something as small as one visible cable, which is completely insignificant on paper, but emotionally, it can be huge. Because when you close that tab, your TV console stops looking like an electronic storage unit and starts looking like a thoughtfully chosen piece of furniture. And when you eliminate enough of these open loops, you're not just making your room look neater, you're giving your brain permission to release that cognitive tension and finally take a rest. But let's say you
I feel like anybody brain could rest even if their room is a little messy though. Like I don't think your brain goes, oh, I gotta stay on because this room is messy. You know what I'm talking about?
did the first steps and close those loops, but when you walk into your living room, it still feels a little stiff. Kind of like the waiting room of an office, not a cozy home. Well, that usually means that you accidentally built yourself a showroom box. Because just look around most living rooms and you'll see the same pattern: a square room, a rectangular rug, a rectangular sofa, a rectangular TV, and a square coffee table.
Bro, look at that room though. That is the most basic living room that they ever had. Look at that. That's crazy, bro.
It's basically boxes inside boxes inside boxes. And sure, it looks orderly, but it feels rigid and maybe even a little hostile. And to understand why, we have to look at how human biology interacts with geometry. We tend to feel more at ease around curves and organic lines, and we're more on guard around hard, sharp angles. And that kind of makes sense because in nature, you don't really see perfect 90-degree corners, but you do see sharp edges where things hurt, like thorns or jagged rocks. So when a room is nothing but straight lines and corners, your nervous system sees danger. Not enough danger for you to panic, but enough to put you on edge.
I don't see that when I look at that room. Nope. That's not what I had seen, at least. I don't know how y'all feel about that, but that's not what I felt when I looked at that room.
But when you add in curves, it sends the opposite message, that this space is safe and approachable. Now, the good news is you don't need one of those trendy curved sofas or a total redesign of your living room. You just need to interrupt the grid a bit. So if your room is full of right angles, just ask yourself, where can I add a curve to break it up? And ideally, you want to aim for 3 to 5 rounded elements, which are layered on top of your boxy stuff. So for example, if you have a sofa with hard, square armrests, take a soft knitted blanket and just drape it over one side. Just like that, you've broken the grid. Or if you have a rectangular media console and a rectangular TV, don't hang a square piece of art next to them. Instead, choose a circular or other unusually shaped mirror and place that there instead. What you're doing is giving your eyes a place to land that doesn't end in a sharp point. You're tricking your brain's threat detection system into powering down. And when you look at a room that's done this, the transformation is kind of wild. It stops feeling like a geometry test and starts feeling warmer and softer without changing the primary furniture at all.
I didn't even really notice a difference.
Now you've closed the loops and added a few curves, and your room's really starting to look better. But then you look at your coffee table or your kitchen island, and even with all the right stuff, it still looks messy. You've got the nice candle, the marble coasters, and the beautiful coffee table book, but when they're scattered across the surface the way they are right now, it just doesn't feel styled. It kind of just
I mean, why not just put them all together as one? You know what I'm saying? Put all the books together. You know?
looks like clutter. And here's why. Despite what you may believe, your brain doesn't experience a room as good looking or not good looking. It experiences it as work. Because every time you walk into a room, your brain scans what's in front of you and starts cataloging it. And the more separate items you see, the more mental energy it takes to process the space. And that mental energy is known as cognitive load. And similar to the browser tabs metaphor I mentioned a minute ago, when your brain is running on high cognitive load, it still runs, but everything feels slower and hotter than it should. And that's what's happening in your room. Because when you've got candle plus coasters plus matchbox plus TV remote plus coffee table books scattered across your table, your brain interprets them.
I feel like that is most people in America, bro. I feel like that's how they all have the, tables looking the most,
As 5 different things. And 5 isn't that big of a deal until you zoom out and realize that the entire room is full of all these little things. Pillows, frames, decor, lamps, baskets, they all really add up. And that's why your room feels visibly loud, even if it's clean. So the question is, how do you keep the things you use without your room feeling cluttered? And this is going to sound too simple, but it's what stylists do in literally every magazine shoot. You chunk them. Chunking is when your brain groups multiple items into a single unit. This is why phone numbers are broken into sections of 3 or 4 digits, because it's easier to process a couple of groups than a bunch of individual pieces. And in interior design, chunking looks like this. You take the exact same items, so the candle, the TV remote, the coasters, the matchbook, and the book, and you put them inside a boundary. So that could be a tray, a shallow bowl, a basket, or even a cutting board. Because the moment there's a boundary, your brain stops seeing 5 data points and starts seeing 1 vignette. And that's all without hiding anything. So you haven't become...
I mean, look at that. Look at that. You know what that's showing me? That's like, all right, so you got a tray now. You got a tray along with that other crap, right? So it's like, it looks nice, but the tray is still clutter.
I'm a minimalist and your TV remote is still right there. But now the surface actually looks good and your brain can relax because you've eliminated all that cognitive load. But you don't need to buy some
So he thinks that still looks good.
Pricey designer piece to pull this off. Just shop around your own home for something that can serve as that boundary. So if it's for your living room, you can place everything on a tray or inside of a decorative bowl.
All he did right there. Look at that. Look.
So if it's for your living room, you can place...
Look at that. Doesn't the tray make that look bigger? Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Place everything on a tray or inside of a decorative bowl. And if it's for your kitchen, you can place things like your salt, pepper, and olive oil on a nice cutting board instead of just loose on the counter.
Or you could get rid of the cutting board and place them exactly like that without the cutting board right there. That's what I'm saying.
And if it's for your bathroom, then you can place your soaps and lotions on a small ceramic plate. The boundary here doesn't have to be fancy, it just has to tell your brain that these items belong together. And once you start doing this all across your home, your rooms won't just look tidier, they'll also feel quieter because you lowered the number of things that your brain has to hold on to at once. So now your room is physically soft.
I think that's all some humbug. Somebody want you to buy an extra piece to put on your table to keep everything that's on your table in. Boy, that's some humbug.
Your cognitive load is low and you've closed your open loops. And your room is really starting to come together. But what if you've done all that and the room still feels overwhelming? Like it's loud even when it's completely silent. Well, if you love...
Bro, how would a room be loud if it's completely silent? You can't even be in a messy room and it be loud if they ain't got no noise in it.
Of art and bold... design, there's a good chance that you're making the same mistake so many people make, which happens when you try to display all your favorite things at the exact same time. And it generally happens like this. You've got a colorful gallery wall, a geometric rug, a bright velvet sofa, and a heavily styled fireplace mantle. And even though you love every piece individually, when you put them all together, your eye doesn't glide through the room. Instead, it just pinballs around and your space starts to feel chaotic. And this is because of the von Restorff effect, which explains that our brains are wired to notice whatever stands out from their surroundings. It's an age-old survival feature that used to help us do things like spot red berries among the surrounding green leaves, because that contrast tells the brain that this matters. And it also explains why in a quiet, neutral room, one big statement piece works so beautifully. Because if you've got a huge blue painting set on a calm wall, your brain instantly knows where to look and you get a clear visual hierarchy. But what happens when everything is trying to stand out? When the rug is loud, the art is loud, the fireplace mantle is loud, and the sofa is loud, well, your visual hierarchy collapses. And I know you've heard me say this before, but when everything becomes a focal point, nothing
I
is
don't
a
know,
focal
chat.
point. It's like hearing your 5 favorite songs playing at the same time at the same volume. Even if every song is good.
Okay, I do not agree with that. I just don't agree with that. Okay, looking at a messy room that has just a bunch of items everywhere, it's not like playing 5 songs at the same time. Playing five songs at the same time will make you feel crazy probably. You know what I'm saying? Like
On
what?
its own, together they just sound like noise and your brain wants out. So how do you calm the room down without getting rid of the pieces you love? Well, you just need to use a strategy I call active demotion, where you create a chain of command. Because just like a good rock band, a good room can only have one lead singer, and everyone else has to be a backup. So here's what you do. First, you need to choose an anchor. In a lot of rooms, the anchor is going to be a major feature, like a fireplace or a big window, but if you don't have an obvious anchor like that, it can also be the sofa, a large piece of art, or even a dining table if you're working with more of an open concept space. Second, you need to create visual silence around that anchor, which means clearing the loud decor nearby to create some negative space. This is what allows your focal point to have its voice heard. So if your fireplace is your anchor, you can't also have a cluttered mantle, a loud patterned rug right in front of it, and two big colorful pieces of art on either side, because that just suffocates the fireplace. But when you actively demote those other things by removing the art to create a calm surrounding wall and stripping down the mantle to 1 or 2 simple objects, the fireplace is now able to breathe.
Maybe that's just that dude's taste. You know what I'm talking about? Like, what are you talking about? The fireplace is not able to breathe. What, bro? Like, what? I think that's just that dude's taste, though, you know?
You didn't change the architecture at all. You just got rid of all the noise, and your brain finally.
Many people don't have no pictures in front of pictures like that anyway. Many people have maybe 1 or 2 pictures up. You know, not blocking the main thing, but like, you know.
Gets what it's been begging for the whole time: one clear place to rest. But what if you look around your room at this point and it still feels disconnected? Like everything was bought from 5 different stores on 5 different days by 5 different people. You've got a.
I cannot deal with this guy saying something about being disconnected in a room by the way it looks anymore. He was way too calm for me. You know, this video was way too long because you're just talking about cleaning up a room. You're basically talking about making it look nice if it's not nice, you know? Like if you got stacks of freaking magazines all over. Legit, all you would have to do is put them all in one stack. However you want to stack it. I mean, this is crazy, you know, talking about this. It's like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I don't understand it, I guess, but I can't even finish this video, bro.